Good evening everyone, welcome to FGM Cast for your Thursday night. It is Thursday night, Cup night. We are here at Martinsville for the penultimate round of the 2021 season. Yes, that's right. We are ever so close to crowning a champion for 2021. With just 2 races to go. As it stands at the moment, there's a battle between Edward Foster and one Hamish Gallagher. So who is going to be the one taking out this championship this coming Thursday night? We will have to wait and see. We've got the round tonight to get underway. We're about to head into qualifying in about 5 minutes time, and then we will of course get into qualifying itself. So I'm just waiting. Carl Withy is just running 1 or 2 minutes behind schedule. I think he's just getting some insider information from a couple of the drivers before the race tonight, just to see how the track is performing. One would suggest that this one might have just 1 or 2 cautions in it, I would assume. So I'm going to be busy on the cameras here, being a short circuit, as we just have a real close-up view there of the 035 Daniel Heddershede, who interestingly enough has gone fastest here in practice, just ahead of Jake Maloney. But there's plenty out there who've not done many laps, including Jason Martin, who's only done 3 laps for P8 provisionally in practice as it stands. So he is, as always, going to be quick. That man on screen there, Hamish Gallagher in the 13 entry, is equally going to be one to keep our eye on, as are all the Mitch boys, as always. Wherever you're watching from tonight, welcome to the stream. Our year winds up. Andrew Dyson just practicing backwards there, just seeing if that is any faster for him. See there a bit of damage to the DPR entry, but he'll know that won't be the fastest way around here tonight. And by the sounds of things, I just heard the door close on the studio. That means Carl Withy is on board. Good evening, Carl.
Good evening, Stuart. Good evening, everybody. It is nice to be back up here in our beautiful broadcast booth. I've missed the place.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been a quiet week for us with birthdays and Melbourne Cup week and what have you. Happy birthday to my wife Kelly, her 40th birthday yesterday, which is why we weren't streaming. You don't do those sorts of things if you want to survive in marriage and in life. So, but we're back tonight. We will be trying to schedule a replay of those 2 races that we have missed, probably next week, I would say, or maybe work on some stuff over the weekend on that one, but we'll see how we go. Carl, just having a look at this short track, and it is going to be a tough one tonight, I think.
Yeah, look, it's a tough nut to crack, Martinsville. It is, it is one of those tracks that does catch a lot of people out. Because you are going from tarmac to concrete surfaces, it does make things a little bit harder sometimes, and expect to see a few people struggling, especially if they're running a slightly higher line, because there are a few bumps here that can catch you out. So if you're not easy on that accelerator pedal, the back end will step out on you, and all of a sudden it will turn into a pendulum.
Yes, absolutely. So I gave a very, very brief rundown of where the championship standings are at the moment. I don't know if we want to have a look at that with a couple of minutes to go before qualifying starts.
Oh, we could absolutely do that indeed. It's not like I've just rushed in at the last moment and haven't got anything ready yet. So, you know, the usual thing. Absolutely ready and prepared to go, as always I am.
It's just my version of you dropping questions in the quiz.
Yeah, that's it. This is the one thing that brings you joy, I know. So Foster leads the championship by 16 points over Hamish Gallagher. Third place, we've got Jason Martin, 8 points behind Hamish Gallagher, 24 off the lead. 30 points down is in 4th is Josh Micklemore. 32 points down in 5th is Michael Scurlock. 53 off the lead is Andrew Dyson in 6th. 7th, we have Danny G, 57 off the lead. 59 off the lead is JCW, Joshua Carroll-Walton in 8th. 9th, we have Maddie Ray, 79 points down. Neil Pearson, 10th, 94 points off the lead. And Luke Trahere, 96 off the lead, down in 11th place.
So, this is my first chase, Carl. We've got a minute 30 to go until qualifying starts. From here, there's... what are we looking at? So, is it sealed, the deal tonight, if Foster gets away and Gallagher has a bad one, or vice versa? Or is it definitely down to next week before we find out who's going to take out this championship?
I mean, you can never say never in motorsport. I mean, look, if Foster gets the victory and Gallagher finishes down in P30, then it's pretty much going to be very good for Foster. But there are, of course, you can get penalty points. There are penalty points that can be had in ANZCAR if you do the wrong thing. So it's not always a completely sealed deal. There are a few things that you can still do wrong and you still earn yourself those penalty points. One of those new things is actually on the restarts. You can earn yourself a DQ from the race as well if you change lanes too often. So there are some things out there that can absolutely get you thrown out and could cause disaster. At the moment, you'd want to be sitting where Foster is sitting, but he has it all to lose, you have to say. Whereas Gallagher, he has the chance to make that run. Same with Jason Martin. It's going to be pretty tricky for Martin and Micklemore and Skurlock. They're all within a shout of it, but they need Foster to have an absolutely terrible night.
Yeah, and of course, last week we almost saw that happen for Gallagher, but he was able to work his way back through that race to get himself back up and finish in 11th, which didn't help overall, but was certainly far better. Which didn't help close the gap, but was far better than how it looked early on in the race for him.
Yeah, very much so. And as I say, it's still one of those nights. If Hamish finishes.
Well, Dave Douglas has done the maths here. He reckons 46 points clear to seal the deal completely today. So I'm not sure that that can happen. But we'll see. I mean, obviously there's only 30 cars running, so it would require a DNF basically to tie things up tonight. So I don't think we'll know who it is tonight that we're going to crown as the champion for 2022, but we'll be a lot closer to finding out, I think.
We will be. And as I said, you never know what's going to happen in motorsport. It is one of those things that can come a cropper for you. So we've got qualifying going on at the moment here at Martinsville. Andrew Dyson's managed to put up a very respectable lap of the 19.19. So very nice one from him. Jaden Russell as well up there in the 19.14s. So the dirt guys are setting some very good laps at the moment. I think we're looking at Neil Pearson right now. So just having a little bit of an accident coming out of pit lane.
So we'll just start that one again. Neil Pearson, our driver of the night tonight. We've got his interview coming up between qualifying and the race. So I thought we'd jump on board with Pearson, or Neil, or the red Skittle, and let him take us for a lap around this place. We might do 2 laps because they're very quick, of course.
They are indeed, and that's one of the things as well. Looking at pit exit there, you can see it is a very tight pit entry and exit here. So we're coming around onto the first lap right now, onto the concrete here to get the best exit. Jumps down nice and low, gets a good entry speed into this first corner, braking heavily. Get in here, take a nice tight line to get the most speed you can through here. Wait to get on the accelerator pedal. Make sure you don't hit those bumps to lose the rear end. Back down the back straight now, into turns 3 and 4. Again on the concrete once more. It's not quite as grippy as the asphalt, so you do have to be a little bit careful just putting your foot down. Back on the asphalt, and that's a lap of Martinsville already done. So here we go into lap 2, so turns 1 and 2 here, coming out of turns 2. You'll see pit entry as Pearson just tags the wall there, unfortunately, on his second lap. That is not what he would have wanted, but you could just see the entry to pit lane there. So it gives you an idea. This place is very short, and it is very hazardous as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're going to see, unfortunately, a number of cautions tonight out here. It's going to be easy to catch out. We saw it in the Xfinity series as well, just that change of surface, catching a number of drivers. I think we had 11 cautions when the Thunder series was here a week ago, and I'm hoping we don't replicate that here tonight, but of course completely different cars as we look at Mr. Sheen on his side there. And Dave Douglas, Double D, what he's making out in the chat like he wasn't running tonight, but he is certainly out there in the pack having a crack at it after a good couple of weeks for Double D.
It has been indeed, and he's going to hope to have another good week this week and hopefully get a good run of things to make it all worthwhile.
Jake Maloney, good qualifying effort from him. He's up in P4.
Yeah, it's good to see Jake Maloney out there, actually. Maloney, 4 wins this season in the Cup. So he's going to be out there, see what he can do tonight, and see if he can get another notch under his belt for this season. Obviously not a huge amount of standing in a championship because he's not raced too often.
Raced enough, yeah.
But he has been out there, and when he comes out, he's usually very, very quick. It's one of the things about Maloney. He is extremely quick, very talented young guy.
All right, well, that concludes qualifying. It's Andrew Dyson who's taken out pole position, set the lap right at the start, and wasn't able to be defeated. We've got Edward Foster off the front row with him as well. We'll bring you all of the grid when we get into the main race, which will be in a short period of time. We're just going to now have a listen to the interview organised and recorded by Carl with none other than Neil Pearson, and we'll have a listen to this and come back with the race warm-up in around about 8 minutes' time.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the ANZCAR Cup for the Chase. Tonight we are joined by Chase competitor and finisher second in the regular season championship, Mr. Neil Pearson. Neil, how are you going?
Pretty good, Carl. How are you tonight?
I am good, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for joining me up here tonight for this little interview. Second of all, how has the Chase been to you? Obviously, it's been a bit of a rough one.
The first race was really good. Darlington, I won. That's one of my favourite tracks in NASCAR. But then it kind of went downhill pretty quick from there, mostly due to my own actions, unfortunately.
Yeah, it started off strong, obviously, and it's just got a little bit downhill from there. But it's been a fantastic season for you in the Cup. 4 victories overall, of course. Really, really strong start of the year as well. It's not been the worst of years for you.
It's been pretty good. I've had a lot of fun racing in the Cup Series, and yeah, I love NASCAR. So just running around in circles, close quarter racing. Yeah, so overall the season's been very good. It's just unfortunately in the back 10 and races, or back 9 races, it just hasn't really gone my way.
One of the other things, of course, is you kind of brought some newborns in for DPR as well, and they've sung your praises pretty well, and they've had a pretty decent season. So obviously you're doing something right in the old team management / motivator role.
It's actually frustrated me a little bit, because they've just picked it up so quickly, especially Daiso. He's really talented driver overall, and I wish he had stayed over in the supercars and let me take all the glory over here.
Exactly. You've brought over too much competition. You're making it hard on yourself now.
I am, yes.
So you mentioned a love for NASCAR. What got you into motorsport first of all?
My dad used to watch Formula One and motorbikes, MotoGP when I was little, and I ended up watching Formula One from about '92 onwards. Same with IndyCar, and then NASCAR. I got Foxtel in 2004, and basically I started watching the Daytona 500. It was like February I got it. So I watched it and I'm like, oh yeah. And then the next week, I think Rockingham was on and I was just bored. So I started watching it and I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. I'm like, oh, tune in next week and see how we go. And yeah, next thing I know, I'm watching it week in, week out.
It's an easy thing to slip into, unfortunately. Motorsport is one of those habits that's, it takes up a lot of time, of course, as well. What got you into racing?
I've always been playing online racing games since I was like 10 years old. I remember there was a game called was it Micro Pro's Formula One Grand Prix? I used to play that for hours and hours, a whole weekend, just single player, just racing. And then all those Grand Prix series came out. Then I think I got NASCAR Racing 2003, and then eventually when iRacing came out, I got into that. Just basically when it launched, I joined up and got into the oval side pretty big.
And then your wallet regretted it ever since?
It did.
Obviously, you've had some really good success in the oval side, but you're also extremely quick on the road courses as well.
I can hold my own. I'm definitely not as quick as Daiso. But I can hold my own, and I know what I'm doing, so which is always helps.
It's always an added bonus. I mean, I've always found if I know what I'm doing, it tends to go a lot better. Unfortunately, generally, I don't know what I'm doing. That's usually the commentary side of things. What about yourself? What sort of other things interests Neil Pearson?
For a while, I raced remote control cars. I got into that pretty big, and that was a lot of fun. I met a lot of good people through that. A lot of them I'm still friends with today. Like, as a kid, I did BMX. I'm not really interested in that anymore, but that was fun.
I hear you did pretty well in the old BMX, and you sort of managed to get slightly higher up.
Yeah. I raced in the world titles in '98, which was, it was a big event, and it was a really big learning experience. And I found out the hard way that I don't like racing indoors. It just, I don't know, I just felt so enclosed, and I didn't do as good as I thought I would, but just to in fact make an event like that was just awesome.
It explains the competitive nature. It's one of those things that breeds competitiveness in a person.
Yeah, I'm very competitive, and I mean, my partner, she was saying, like after a bad race or something, she knows when I've had a bad race through all the words that are coming up from my racing room.
All of the new swear words that you invent.
Yeah, that's it.
We were having a little bit of a chat before as well, and you said you style yourself off a certain IndyCar driver.
I don't style myself off of Paul, but I've just noticed that I kind of have the same sort of traits. I'm very aggressive, and I'll put my car in positions where I expect the person around me to do the same thing. Like I expect them to do something, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't do what I expect them to do, and it can cause abrasive situations. And I've noticed, Paul Tracy, that's sort of his style. He'd always get himself into these abrasive situations that just weren't necessary.
Oh, look, Paul Tracy is it's one of those drivers, he does tend to rub people the wrong way, but he has been very successful over the years, of course. The aggressive nature of driving is something we love seeing from yourself. It does put you sometimes, though, in situations that you don't like, as you said, and that can be tricky.
Yeah, I mean, it can be. It's disappointing, for myself that I put myself into these situations. It's something I've trying to work on probably in the last 3 to 4 months. I've apart from ANZCAR, I've really taken a step back from my online racing, just to try keep my temper and everything under control. And it's really started to work, and I've just got to try. I'm not there yet. Like, there's been a couple of incidents in the chase, that I shouldn't have been involved in. But I'm getting there, and as long as I know my faults, I know how I drive, and I can only improve if I work on it.
Well, that's it. It's knowing where to improve sometimes can be the big one. But this season, obviously, you're third overall in wins with 4 wins this season. Of course, your teammate, the most wins of the season, Mr. Daiso. But that aggressive nature, when it pays off well.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, I think it is a good trait to have, but there's sometimes, like I need to calm down. Like at Dover, I was just pushing and pushing when I didn't need to, and I ended up just blowing the right rear and caused the caution to come out, which, it should. I knew what I was doing, and I knew I had to calm down and like just back it down, but I just couldn't get myself to actually do that, and it was just interesting situation that I was in. Like the competitiveness, like I just wanted to race Josh and just get there and and looking back on it now, I can see I needed to calm down.
Look, that's one of the things. When you know your faults and you can improve on them, you can only get better. And look, if you start getting that little bit better, it's going to be dangerous for everybody on that grid because you're already up there with one of the best. So, a scary thing for next season.
It's going to be interesting because I like a loose race car. Like I think if you look at Daiso, he struggled a little bit at Kansas because he hasn't worked out how to drive a race car a NASCAR on the right rear, and I think that's where I really came alive. Like I didn't qualify well, and I managed to work my way up to basically racing Ed, Jason, and myself. We pretty much all closed in towards the end of the stint. And just running that loose car has always been fun. Like the original time model in iRacing, I was so good. Not to blow myself up or anything, but I felt like just being able to drive a loose car, it really was loose back in those days. You pretty much just turn left a little bit and then you just opposite lock through the whole corner, just trying to drive the car. And I think I was a lot stronger there. So next year with the what was it, the next gen car? Not keen. Like I'm gonna race and just see how we go, but it's definitely part of NASCAR has always been trying to control a loose race car. So it's disappointing for me that they've gone the opposite way and they're really tightening the cars up.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one next season. Look, we look forward to seeing you back. Still 2 races in the chase to go, of course. Martinsville and Phoenix coming up. How are you feeling for those next 2 races?
It should be interesting. I didn't do too well at Martinsville first race. We were there. I got punted out pretty much about 10 laps in through no fault of my own. And then unfortunately back in the pack it was no one was giving room when they should have, and yeah, I ended up getting disqualified on penalty points. And Phoenix should be interesting. It's a new layout. That turn 1 I always struggled with, so I'm looking forward to trying that one.
Look, we wish you all the best, Neil. Congratulations on a solid season. Probably not the chase that you wanted, but overall another strong season from yourself, and it's good to have you getting those few wins, and hopefully we can get one more on the board for you.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm looking forward to some racing, and then fortunately it's going to be a big break over the summer, so...
That's it. Enjoy your break. Thank you so much, Neil. Hopefully we catch you back in the booth before the end of the season, but if not, have a great summer.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, and with that we will head back to the broadcast.
So there you go, an insight into the man who is Neil Pearson, the Red Skittle DPR leader. And certainly a couple of unfortunate events over the last few races for Neil, but definitely good to hear that he's planning on being back next season, of course with a change of car as well. See how that fares for him. But one of the quicker guys who should really be featuring in this top end of the season a little bit more, but that's racing, Carl.
It is, and as Neil said himself, it's not always been his best friend in some respects, and it's one of those things of just working on yourself and working on aspects. But he's had a fantastic season, being so strong this year, and brought in some very strong teammates, as he said, with the DPR entries. I mean, we've got Daiso and Worley, both of them have been having fantastic seasons, but that whole team has just been taking another step up. They've gone from that team that was sort of nipping at the heels to that team that you can pretty much count on them being out the top of the field every night. Yeah,
participant to a contender. I mean, of course, we saw the first round of the chase, DPR locked out the first 3 places. So certainly shows exactly what they can do. Looking forward to seeing them back next season, of course.
Importantly, on ovals, not just on road circuits as well.
Yeah, that's the scary prospect, isn't it? So we'll see how they go. Mitch Motorsport, I think, probably would fairly say that the DPR guys have made them step it up a notch as well, which they've certainly responded with. I think early in the season probably wasn't going quite as well as Mitch at Motorsport had hoped, and then it just sort of turned on a dime, and they came flying back and have fought extraordinarily well ever since. So it'll certainly be an interesting battle, and Pearso will feature heavily in that. I have no doubt. next season. But of course, we've still got 2 races to go here, and anything can happen.
And it usually does in motorsport.
Absolutely.
Once said it, great man. But yeah, look, I'm looking forward to tonight's race. Martinsville, as I say, can be a bit chaotic sometimes. They don't call it the half mile of mayhem for no reason. But when it goes right, it goes very right. And some of the racing here can be spectacular. So hopefully we will see that tonight.
Of course, if you haven't had a look at this track before the pit lane entry, as I think we just might have seen Luke Trahere show us the example, it's going to be difficult as well. So when we do get cautions for the drivers to make their way in to pit lane and get out again as well. I think again in the Xfinity series we saw an incident where rejoining drivers might not necessarily have managed to do that quite so successfully. So there's every chance of mayhem in pit lane, as there always can be. It's difficult enough under cautions when everyone piles in, but this track just adds that little bit of complexity to it.
It does, and one of the other things at pit lane is look at the amount of cornering through the pit box there. When you're sort of about 5th or 6th, you are basically on the edge of a corner. So you're not going into a nice straight pit bay, you are going in on an angle, and that can really throw you out. Also on pit exit for the leader as well, they've got to basically turn their car a little bit, and it's easy to get a bit too much wheel spin and sometimes loop it in pit lane. So you've got to be really, really careful here.
Yeah, most definitely. So, wouldn't be a normal season race without us having to do something like this. We'll get this fixed in the off season.
The joys of technical issues, technical difficulties. They are they're a staple of motorsport. So, we'll hopefully have it thrown up shortly.
Hopefully so. No idea why it does this. Just decides that it doesn't want to, and it only ever does it as we head into the race session. There we go. So I decided
we have cars.
Finally come up, but of course it's saying that it's a replay, which it's not, and we'll go back there, and we're there. So, with most of the field on the grid and half the race almost done by the time we got some things on the screen, let's have a quick look here. There'll be 2 warm-up laps, so we'll have time to go through. It's even decided to start at the back of the grid. Let's not do that. It is Andrew Dyson and Edward Foster off the front row, Jaden Russell and Jake Maloney off P2. Then we've got Josh Mickelmore, Daniel Heddersheet off row 3, with Martin and Gallagher off 4, Curtis and Danny G, the assassin, off 5, then it's Hunter and Skurlock off 6 as we roll back. Dave Douglas, Lachlan Uku off 7, Matty Ray, Stephen Williams off 8, JCW and Mike Schroeder off 9, Witcher and Spencer off 10. Then it's Phil Otto and Michael Cracknell off 11, Neil Pearson and Mirko Dortnack off 12. Then Luke Trahere and Noddy Tompkins off 13, Scott Griffiths, Paul Jackson off 14, and Raymond Yeager and Norm Clark off 15. And that rolls out our grid here tonight for the penultimate round of the ANZCAR Cup Series on FGM eCast. Thank you to everyone from wherever it is you're joining us for your night tonight.
Yeah, we appreciate your company. It makes a big difference as they are coming round for the final pacing lap. Right now it's going to be the orange flavoured DPR Phoenix Smoker off of the front row with the very classic, beautiful Bridgestone Select livery of the 53 Natari Autosport Eddie Foster on the outside. So they're coming round to the corner. The green flag will be dropped. The penultimate round of the chase is going to be underway here at Martinsville, and away goes Andrew Dyson with a cracking start. Just behind him, Jaden Russell gets a little bit loose off the corner, just loses a little bit of speed there. That's given Foster the ability to jump right down to that low line.
Yeah, Maloney and Russell doing well off the start there as well in terms of just settling into where they were side by side in second, in third and fourth as they're just trading spots now. Heddersheet up 1 spot on Josh Mickelmore. It looks like Mirko Dortnack has had an incident straight up.
Big tank slapper, and he's jumped straight into pit lane rather than sitting out there and getting a yellow caused. Good awareness of position there, Mirko. Unfortunate for that one. Had a big tank slapper going through the mid-corner, just got caught up half on the asphalt, half on the concrete, and all of a sudden that car's gone round and round, and that is the end of that one.
So we should have said at the top of the show, 150 laps here tonight, so we are right into it. Plenty of time for these drivers to make their way through.
The caution flag flies for the first time tonight.
Greg
We've got
Spencer.
Greg Spencer around. Looks like a little bit of contact between himself and Cracknell. Just a slight bit of contact door on door, and unfortunately Spencer's gone around. Very slow spin. It doesn't look that impressive, but just unsettles the car there, and there's a bit of a bump on that track as well, and once it gets unsettled, around she goes. About 75 kilometers per hour that was.
It's a little bit of damage to the left-hand rear there, almost able to get away with it, but we do have our first caution of the evening.
So this will pretty much mean drivers will not have to worry about fuel. Not that they were worrying too much about it in the first place, but it's very much all about the tyres tonight and keeping that strategy on point. Of course, you have 4 sets of tyres for the race, so 3 of them you can change onto. You obviously start on 1 set, and then you've got 3 sets to use throughout the race. So you might see a little bit of the old dummy being thrown here and there as drivers slide down towards pit lane to make people think they're going to come in, because you do get a little bit of pace advantage on those fresher boots. So we will see that one when it unplays, but it won't be for a few laps yet until it's worth actually doing. Driver this does help out is Noddy Tompkins, who started in pit lane. So Noddy Tompkins started pit lane and had there was some kind of issue actually on the start, so missed the start, but this means it's going to get lapped back, so that's actually worked out pretty much perfectly for the SRM car.
Yeah, you'll be happy about that. Just looking at the whole field here, trundling through.
It's always nice when things work out like that for you. Not so much for the rest of the field, but when it pays off for you, then you can go, yep, okay, I'm kind of happy about that. Motorsport is a fickle sport. When it works for you, it works. When it doesn't, it usually doesn't work at all. When you're praying for a caution, it never comes.
No, just looking through the standings as we sit at the moment. So, of course, Edward Foster is currently championship leader, and he's got his teammate in Daniel Heddersheed just heading off the Mitch Motorsport train. Micklemore, Gallagher, Martin and Danny G just next to at the restart, but just behind Michael Skurlock. So he'll be hoping that Heddersheed can help him out at some stage through the evening, or perhaps even that JCW might be able to make his way up to the front, or maybe even Norm Clark. So it's poised well, this one, for a ripping race. But I hope as well those leaders will be hoping they won't catch up to lap traffic too soon, I imagine. But I don't think they're going to get their wish.
No, it's one of the things. Track management and lapped car management is a huge thing here. So pace car peels into pit lane, and once again Daiso leads away, gets a good exit on the corner, keeps it down low. This time Jaden Russell gets the corner done much better. He keeps on his foot. Foster can't nip down into the low line. This time he's going to be hung out on the outside. This could give a little bit of a chance behind him. You can see Jake Maloney jumping to that low line very quickly. He saw Foster's teammate was sitting back there, and he didn't want a little bit of a gap made up. As we've got cars around in the background, it looks like Lachlan Urquio and Neil Pearson.
It does indeed. Look like light contact again.
Oh, unfortunately, it was one of the. It was Justin Witcher that just caught Lachlan Urquio down on the inside. They went free wide into the corner.
Yeah, those numbers don't
work. And that does not work here at Martinsville. That maths is off a little bit, unfortunately. Opportunistic move there. Sort of tries it, but unfortunately not enough room on that low line to really make it work, and sort of Urquio's just holding his position there very much so. So it's one of those little racing moves, unfortunately. Again, not too much damage to the cars around them. Luckily, that's one of the...
I was just going to say, I think Pearson unfortunately copped most of the damage there.
Yeah, he will have got a bit on the front right. he got a fairly heavy hit towards the wall, and then he got sort of Lachlan just getting into him again. So he's probably going to jump in and get that repair done while we've got a caution going. But, oh yeah, he sort of bounced back into the wall again. So that would have been some heavy damage on that right front. But if there's any track you're going to have damage on, Martinsville's probably one of those tracks you'd probably want it on, in all honesty, because you can kind of get away a little bit with it. It's not as devastating unless you get some real bad engine damage. If that radiator pops, then that is it. The one it did work out for was Jaden Russell, though, because he's managed to get ahead of Foster now, so he'll be starting on the outside at this time.
Yep.
Foster will have that inside line, and he'll try and do to Russell what Russell did to Foster last time round. So we'll see that restart getting involved, and we'll hopefully get everybody into the rhythm. One of the big things about a race like this is getting into the rhythm of the race. That's a hugely important thing to get working for you, because if you can't get the rhythm right, then you do end up having a few little incidents here and there. You just need to sort of pretty much get everybody settled into a decent pace. We have lost 3 cars, unfortunately. Mirko Dornak, Greg Spencer, and it looks like Raymond Yeager as well, unfortunately. So we are 3 cars down for the night.
Might just switch up the view a little bit here tonight. Obviously, being a short track, it's probably a little easier for us to get a full idea of what's going on the old ticker across the top of the screen. So we'll stick with this one for the minute. Haven't seen it before. Obviously, it's the same thing that's in the column, but just across the top of the screen.
You just got to leap from left to right. It throws everybody out. This is no good.
Just a little bit hard to capture all the cars though on the cameras here without switching to this angle. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry. If you do like it, well, I'm very pleased indeed. So we're about to go back underway. Get green again. Get green again. I've got to get my words right. Go green again. Andrew Dyson, Jaden Russell. Dyson dropping it just out of the corner, and he does that again here. Jaden Russell gets away well with him as well, as does Jake Maloney on that top line, and he's managed to slide down onto the inside there as well to block out Foster. So Jaden Russell retains P2. Jake Maloney gets a good restart as well, and looks like he's going to move his way up into P3, and he has. So Foster drops a couple on the restart. Header Sheet's trying to hold off Josh Micklemore just behind the leaders here, as we're 3 wide down in the background.
Yeah, people are trying it early on at the moment. They're getting a little bit racy as it stands, and as I say, sometimes it just pays off to be a little bit more cautious in these early stages. Just get it going, get the race going, just get settled in a little bit rather than pushing too hard. But try telling that to a pack of racing drivers, and they don't listen. Dave Douglas making a bit of a move on Jason Martin right now, getting underneath him and making the move stick, it looks like. Dave Douglas on a bit of a charge at the moment behind Michael Skurlock, catching up towards Hamish Gallagher as it stands. So that little group of cars is very much on it at the moment. Keep an eye on that pack battle going on, because they are looking pretty racy at the moment.
Yeah, must have missed Matt Hunter there. Good qualifying effort from him. He's still in P11 where he started, just involved in this battle on screen with Jason Martin and Dave Douglas. So he'll be happy with the progress. He's had some good results of late as well, Matty Hunter. So progress is good there at Vision Motorsport with him. So he's currently got, looks like as well, Riley Curtis, as the caution's out again, is catching up to him.
So, Noddy Tompkins, I think. Noddy's just lost it off the exit of the corner. Had a big tank slapper going down the straight, unfortunately did not catch it, and then has gone right into the front of Neil Pearson. That could be a big amount of damage to Pearson's car, because that's going to damage the cooling, unfortunately. So again, the curse of the interviewer has struck, unfortunately. Sorry about that, Pearson. But not the night he will have been wanting tonight. That car doesn't actually look too bad. Getting a second look at it.
It looked like he got a little bit lucky there, because Noddy just bounced across the wall and just sort of bounced in the right direction to just get pushed along by Neil. So he was still moving, which helps. Obviously, running into a stationary car is generally not great, and running into a wall is detrimental to your health. But he looks like he's just managed to get away with it.
Yeah, we first saw it. The netcode had the whole front end off, unfortunately. So it might be a little bit more severe than we think. It might be, as I say, if he's got some engine damage, I think that might be it for Neil Pearson tonight, unfortunately, which is a big shame. It was an absolute pleasure having a chat to him the other night. I had to trim the interview down a fair bit because we ended up talking for about 40 minutes, I think. So
It looks like he's just sitting in pit lane, potentially just getting repairs done and waiting. So, like we were just saying, can't catch a break. The car looks like crumpled Christmas-themed aluminium foil. So, whether he's just going to wait for a bit or continue to get those repairs, but he's going to go a few laps down.
I guess it is. It's past Halloween, so that's acceptable. So.
Absolutely, it is. There's rumours of a Christmas tree going up in our house, and I haven't even turned a year older yet. So, but after a bleak year, why not spread the Christmas tree a bit early this year?
Well, as long as I don't find one in the commentating booth, I'll be happy.
No, absolutely not. We close up before Christmas, Carl, so you'll be all good. So
my Grinch-like nature does not accept Christmas.
No. So we're just waiting again to get underway. What are we now? This is caution number
3.
3.
Hopefully it is the magic number and we won't see any more tonight.
Yes, well, setting it at a good pace. But can you do? Obviously, as attrition comes through as well, fewer cars on track. See what happens.
Yeah, that's it. You get fewer cars on track. There's less chance of those cautions coming out, which does help. And it also helps the leaders a little bit because there's less cars to have to pass, obviously. So that can be useful for them. So it can make things a little bit easier. Obviously, we want to see some good green flag racing, and we're going to get back to it right now. Where does Dyson drop the loud pedal? He's waiting, and he waits to the last moment. Does a fantastic drop there. Very nice start from Andrew Dyson. Absolutely caught that one perfectly. Tail got a little bit away from him, but he managed to feather the throttle to keep it perfectly there. Jake Maloney as well, really good restart. He's managed to drop down to the inside of Jaden Russell, trying to force him up a little bit higher, trying to make that move just behind Josh Micklemore, making a move on Daniel Hennessy, trying to get it done. Can't quite have it his way at the moment. Hamish Gallagher on Skurlock, though. This could be a chance for him to move up another position. So their battles are going on throughout the field at the moment. And a lot of chase contenders in a very small position at the moment. We've got Micklemore, Skurlock, Gallagher and Martin all next to each other at the moment, all fighting for their positions in the chase. Look at Skurlock just jump down in front of... Oh! Skurly saves that one. A big check up there. Skurlock just caught the curb. He went for a big dive down the inside to try and make something happen there. Manages to save his position. A big check-up. Dave Douglas just absolutely on it. Cat-like reflexes there. Saves that from a big crash.
And Hamish Gallagher right behind him would have been blinking, or should I say would have had his eyes wide open after that, trying to make sure that he doesn't get impacted by it. And these things start to creep into your mind at this part of the season as well. So no damage done though, and they continue to live another day. It's Michael Skurlock is in a Mitch Motorsport sandwich with Josh Micklemore and Hamish Gallagher behind him. I'll just be running it out. When are we likely to see pit stops, Carl? Caution or green flag oriented? When are the drivers going to be wanting to try and stretch the tyres to at this point in time?
I'd probably say around about half distance if they can. They'll try and stretch it as long as possible because track position is key here. That's going to be the key thing for this race, is keeping track position. So I think we're going to see drivers basically keeping it out as long as they can, because if they've got a good track position, they're going to be pretty happy with that. There is that tyre drop-off that can happen. Sometimes it's not as noticeable, especially if you get quite a few cautions dotted between them, and that can mean that you can't really make up sort of time with fresh tyres. To give you a bit of an idea, at the moment, Noddy Tompkins just come in, so he did come in for the last in those last cautions, and I think he is on some fresher boots, so he's got the freshest boots of anyone out there, I think. Check. Yes, he has. So we can keep a bit of an eye on his lap times, and he's setting fairly decent lap times at the moment, sort of at the back of the pack with some fairly significant damage. There's all Phil Otto into the side of Norman Clark, and who was that? I saw an orange car there. Paul Jackson. Paul Jackson just losing the tail into the corner, I think. Just has a big snap of the back end going out. Just catches Norman Clark with Phil Otto. A bit of damage to the front of Paul Jackson. I think Norman Clark pretty much managed to sneak it through. Phil Otto just managed to break it up in time. So not a huge amount of damage for those guys. Now, the question is, do the leaders think about coming in? I think if you see the leaders coming in, I think everybody's going to be jumping behind them. But I don't think anybody's going to risk losing too much track position here tonight. It's going to be the people wanting to keep their track position tonight. That's going to be a huge, huge part of this race.
Very, very low speed incident there, so not much damage at all. Stick on board here with Daiso as he'll throw probably the biggest dummy of his life. See how close he gets. Oh, he's gone real wide there. That's not what you see. We always see him just miss that cone on the approach to pit lane, so not too many will have been fooled by that one.
A bit too early, I think. I think in another 10, 20 laps, I think that's when we're going to see the big dummies being thrown and see if they can actually catch a few people out. You'll see a lot of people, if they do get caught out, they will lose a lot of positions as well. So it's the risk you take, of course. Those fresh tyres will give you that little bit of speed advantage, but if you're way down in the pack, if you've got 20 odd cars in front of you, you're going to just lose so much time because you're going to have to try and pass them. And even if you've got 40, 50 lap fresher tyres, that's hard to do. So it's all about risk management right here, and we'll see if anybody does try. We've seen in the past a few drivers going for the race on one set of tyres, being very frugal and saving a few extra pennies to spend on new paint jobs. Will we see that tonight?
Absolutely. Who knows? Well, time will tell, that is for certain.
If we did know, it'd make it mighty boring.
It would make it.
Although it could be a good one for our bank books, I mean. But we'll see how this one unfolds. Andrew Dyson having a fantastic end to his season, and really, it's going to be one of those drivers to watch next year for sure. Really has been putting on a great show. Most wins of the season as well, with 7. So if Michael Skurlock can get a win tonight, then he's got a chance to equal that number, but nobody can beat it. So Dyson having a fantastic first proper year in the Cup Series, and has really made a name for himself, especially on the short tracks and in the ovals as well. We knew he was quick on the roads, but on the ovals he's been showing as well. When does he drop the loud pedal for this restart? He's waiting. Makes it mid-corner, gets away nicely. Jaden Russell gets a good exit off the corner this time, though. Jay Russ just going to be side by side. Watch Jake Maloney just take that inside line at the moment, trying to force his way past Jaden Russell. Those two are going to battle away now, side by side for a couple of laps. Foster just sitting behind with his teammate. Oh, Jake Maloney just catches the apron a little bit, just catches the curb a little bit. That's going to unsettle the car, lose him a little bit of time. That's checked up a little bit behind him, and that could give Micklemore the chance on header sheet, but it's given Skurlock the opportunity on Micklemore. Skurlock just absolutely flings that thing past. A buck wild car just getting through there underneath Josh Micklemore. Scully is on an absolute charger tonight.
Yeah, just on the restart there, Jake Maloney got a little bit loose on the go, but managed to hold it and have that fight there with Jaden Russell, but it'll continue on. Dave Douglas here just trying to push the point on the outside of Hamish Gallagher. He's gone too deep there, run wide and surrender that position. Along with Hamish Gallagher, Jason Martin goes through as well. So Stevie Dubb also looking a bit racy at the moment. He's up 4 positions, trying to make the moves work to get up to his DPR teammates. And now Dave Douglas fighting again with Jason Martin on the recovery. So battle's going on.
JCW just getting a big snap of oversteer on the exit of turn number 2, manages to save the car, but a big tail happy moment for the buzzing Carol Walden. He just managed to save that one though, and almost a disaster. But the battle is on between Douglas and Martin, 2 drivers that we've seen fighting it out many times, and they are going to be going for it tonight.
Seems like there's 2 different approaches to the entry and exit to the corner, and it keeps causing a bit of a check-up as well. Down in the mid pack. So okay.
Yeah, you can if you can take that slightly tighter line, it is a little bit quicker. But there are a couple of bumps in that sort of slightly tighter line that can catch you out if you put your foot down too quickly. So some of the drivers take a slightly higher line because one, that's going to be a little bit less punishing towards the tyres, and also you don't hit that bump quite as much. So it's a little bit, you just can, it's a little bit more drivable, so to say.
So the gap at the front, 0.3, half a second to Maloney. At this stage, things just pretty stable. You can see Michael Skurlock up ahead here, jump to him. He's putting the pressure on Daniel Hedersheet. It's a battle for 5th. Of course, Hedersheet there, acting in a little bit of defence of his teammate Foster, just ahead of him in P4. Both at this stage will be happy with how the race has progressed to date. Clean cars, that's what you want for the end of this race, which I have a feeling is going to be very close. Jaden Russell still having work done on the rear of the 28 entry by Jake Maloney, but he equally, I should say, is caught up to Andrew Dyson. So things tightening at the front of the field after the restart.
There's from 1st to 5th, there's about 1.5 seconds covering those cars, which is very close indeed. So barely anything covering these cars, and of course they take up a fair amount of real estate on the track itself, remember, so they sort of can't get out of the way. Oh, a big incident behind, a big check-up behind. I saw Danny G involved in that one. Let's have a little look at that one. Oh, Danny G just got caught by Justin Witcher, I think. Justin Witcher just a little bit late on the brake, maybe just got caught out by the closing speed there, and just gave a little bit of a tap to the back of the orange Mitch car, and that spun him around. Luckily, everybody has managed to avoid that.
Avoid it, yeah.
Really good driving down the pack there. That could have been a big accident. So there could have been a lot more cars getting caught up in that. Michael Skurlock in pit lane. Skurley has decided to pit. Dave Douglas has decided to pit. And Riley Curtis, Matt Hunter, Maddie Ray, Michael Cracknell, Danny G, Scott Griffiths, Norman Clark deciding to pit. So we've got some of the first pit stops happening.
Let's say once you're committed, you've got to go the whole way, Carl. In terms of Reading, who's gone into pit lane. He'll have pace now, but he's going to be stuck in a pack. So how's that going to work for him? He had pace as well going out of the restart, so it's an interesting choice. We're a third of the way through the race at the moment. Just on 51 laps of 150. So maybe they're just taking some inspiration from Mirko Dortnak, the strategic warrior who generally just splits things evenly. Deciding to roll the split things in third strategy tonight.
Yeah, the old Dortnak special. So we'll see how that one pays off. It's going to be tricky. I mean, look, there is risk involved in that, but it could pay off. Skurlock's come out in P15, I think, so he's halfway down the field. So he's split in half completely. He's halfway down the pack. So lots of splitting going on.
And Clark's trying to make his way through.
Yeah, he's going to see what he can do with this one. Meanwhile, Luke Trahere is the biggest gainer of the night, currently in P12 with 13 spots gained in the Way Down sponsored machine, of course. We're looking for some good MMA related thing from Nightcall Racing's own Luke Trahair, then head on over to the way down. Good stuff over there. Big fan of the old mixed martial arts.
We do like a nickname here. We've come up with a couple of new ones throughout the season. Perhaps Mirko should be called Toto. After Toto Wolff.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of Toto of Africa vibes.
Yeah, I thought that's why I had to put some clarification on that. I thought that might be where you went. But no, of course, talking about strategy, I mean, Mercedes-Benz, ultimate strategists.
Oh, well, but we know Ross Brawn is the best strategist in the game. So.
We do, but he's not active. But yes, we could call him Brawny.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
it might work. Anyway, these things just sort of seem to naturally take their course, so we'll see how we go with that.
We will, of course. We'll see how this one pans out as Daiso in the lead at the moment. He has got Foster and Maloney behind him. Jane Russell on the outside. Sitting a little bit further back, we have Hedesheed and, of course, the Pirate King, Mr. Josh Micklemore, sitting back in 6th with Hamish Gallagher and Jason Martin. So we'll see how this restart goes. When does Daiso drop the loud pedal? Waiting a long time on the exit there. Waits for the right at the last stage. Good jump for him over Jake Maloney. He just got a little bit squirrely on the exit. So nice start from Dyson. That's going to help him out a little bit. He's going to be able to force his way and push some of the cars wide. How is it going down in the pack? How's Michael Skurlock going? That's a big question. Oh, big checkup in front as we've got cars. We've got Hamish Gallagher involved in an incident with Stevie Dubb. And it's a big one. I think Jason Martin actually as well. So looks like Stevie Dubb's just caught the back of Hamish Gallagher. And the car has gone round and they have got caught with each other. So this is disastrous for the man in P2 in the chase, Mr. Hamish Gallagher.
We'll just try and bring this up on screen. Just trying to catch up with it because, of course, it's a short track, so everything just happens quickly there. There's a heap involved.
And the one it really didn't pay off for was Michael Skurlock. He just got caught as the piggy in the middle of those two cars. So just watch this one. You can see they get caught up. Unfortunately, they get attached at the nose. You can see Stevie Dubbs just got over and just got caught up on Hamish and just trying to actually get that car off. Of course, there is that little bit of banking. It's quite a flat track, but sort of gets stuck in that position. And Skurlock had absolutely nowhere to go. That has absolutely ruined that strategy for him.
So on board here with Michael Skurlock. Just couldn't quite. Oh yes, I ended up just getting a bit more damage there. I definitely caught up. That's got a lot of damage to the left-hand front corner there. So again, a relatively low, as it would be, a relatively low speed incident here. So hopefully no engine damage for Gallagher. But there's certainly going to be a little bit of steering damage there, no doubt about it. But he's in pit lane now, so hopefully he can get some of that addressed.
Yeah, hopefully the damage is more cosmetic than anything else. And you can get a quick scalpel up, make Tay look a little bit better and get back out on track and everything will be all fine.
Also showed Scott Griffiths crashing. I'm just assuming that was in the bank up. Yeah, it was. So Danny, the assassin, just managing to miss out on that, which was good. But in him stopping, then Scott Griffiths and Lachlan Urquio had a 5 o'clock special. And nose to tail, just in the background again at relatively low speed, so shouldn't be too much more damage to those two cars than there already was, just a little bit shorter.
Won't help them if there is a photo finish at the line, of course. It could cost them it could be the difference between a win and not a win. Obviously, if you get that little bit of shortened nose.
As you say, not working out so well for Michael Skurlock either. He had pit during the last caution, and now he's got a memento on the right hand front corner and the rear of the 350 entry.
Oh, it works out for though is Dave Douglas, who's sitting in 12th at the moment. Mr. Double D is working his magic at the moment. Sat back, relaxed on the couch, driving away. He'll be starting on the outside of Phil Otto, and he's got a nice higher position than he had before, so he can put those fresh tyres to work and see what he can do out of this one. We've seen Dave has been not too shy with having a bit of a go at the old attacks as well. So what will we see from Dave this time around? But we are getting back from the restart. Daiso waits to the last minute there and absolutely catches the other cars out. Jaden Russell almost got away a little bit too quick and almost got caught out. Had to check up a little bit. That slowed him down from that restart. A little bit of a blink there from Jay Russell, unfortunately. Hopefully that connectivity issue won't be too long lasting. Jake Maloney and him are going to be having a bit of a battle. Foster just sitting behind, just not pushing too hard at the moment. He's got his teammate Daniel Hedesheet just sitting in front of Josh Micklemore and Jason Martin at the moment. And he has JCW, Josh and Carol Walden as well, working his way up, getting past Martin at the moment. Carol Walden trying to make that extra position on the 21 of Jason Martin tonight to help out his teammate.
Just having a look there at Dave Douglas as well, first of the fresh rubber brigade, and he is making light work of those around him at the moment, which is what he needs to do. He needs to use that tyre as much as he can. To dare say on the next caution, a majority of those in front will probably come in. As he gets real loose there. Curse of the commentator, usually Carl's job tonight, Dave. Sorry about that, mate. But he got a little bit of a slide on there.
And that's really helped out Riley Curtis, also on fresh tyres. So Riley in that beautiful pink design, absolutely sporting fantastic elements on that car, having a good run up in front of Dave Douglas now. Riley working his way up to P10, just behind Luke Trahair at the moment, who is just watching this battle between JC. Oh, we got a big accident behind. I think it's Maddie Hunter. Around in the background, it is indeed Maddie Hunter having a big moment with Danny G, I think. So Danny G and Maddie Hunter, they're just getting into each other just very slowly.
Yeah, just a little nudge. All she took was just a little rotation. Michael Skurlock likely to get through there as well, as he was on his way through. Just waiting to see here. Of course, we have seen a no pit stop strategy done recently when there was a lot of cautions in a race. In fact, it was at this very track, so maybe that's playing on the mind, Carl, of some of these drivers.
Yes, and believe it was the man we are looking at took very good advantage of that as well.
Yeah, so maybe that's just the play for tonight. I would have expected them to jump in this time around. We're rapidly approaching halfway through the race, about 6 or 7 laps shy of it at the moment. So I would have thought this would be the time to do it.
So track position is going to be key here tonight. It's a bit like, obviously, you can compare it to the street circuits such as Monaco or Belle Isle, places like that, where they are quite tight, quite narrow, and it's a little bit trickier to pass sometimes. And this is definitely one of those styles of tracks. Obviously, you could get 4 cars down the back straight without too much trouble, but it's getting those corners right, and that section you're pretty much stuck to 2 cars at most, and the car on the inside is usually going to have the advantage, even on slightly older tyres.
Well, be an interesting strategy play. We don't think we checked actually when that did happen. How much rubber was left? Actually, I think we might have. I think Edward Foster might have said he had about 10% left on a different car, of course. But not a lot of rubber is going to be left if they try and run that strategy. It's a risky one.
It is. You do take a little bit of risk here and there, and sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. That's why we call it a risk. Of course, the big difference with the Cup car is it's a little bit heavier. It's got a little bit more downforce here and there. It's not going to make a difference here at Martinsville, but it has a lot more power. So it's got a couple of extra 100 horsepower under the bonnet, and those extra ponies can absolutely cause a little bit more damage to those rear tyres. So that could be the difference maker tonight over the Xfinity car. But if you're frugal, if you're driving with a very light foot on the pedal, then you can sometimes get away with it. So we will find out.
At the moment, you'd have to say that out of our lead 4, as the pace car pulls in and we're about to go green, Russell and Maloney probably spent the most of their tyre. When will Dyson go? He's gone a little bit earlier than normal. He's going to have to keep varying it up, otherwise they're going to get too used to it. Maybe that's the tactic that he wants to run with, but we're green again, 72 through of the 150 for tonight, and Jake Maloney looking to get down again underneath Jaden Russell and take that P2. Russell not giving in. Edward Foster just sits and monitors in the background as these front 3 get away. Dyson, Russell and Maloney. Foster's got Daniel Heddersheet behind him. Josh Mickelmore involved as well as they're 2x2, with Jason Martin, his teammate, and JCW just behind. Straher closest right up behind JCW there. Almost gets in to the back corner of him. Just manages to keep it clean as he's trying to look for a way down underneath the 35. Natari Autosport entry, of course, Straher up 16 positions at the moment.
Got to move on for P2 right here, as Russell has just been passed by Maloney. So Maloney makes the move and gets up to P2 now. So very nicely done.
Right at the halfway point of the race. So can he make anything of it and attack Andrew Dyson, who's had this one pretty comfortably by himself at the moment? Will Dyson continue to manage the race from the front? Michael Skurlock, in the meantime, is making progress back up through the field. He's right behind Dave Douglas now. So they're both on fresh tyres. It's a good recovery from him.
Skurlock will have used a little bit more tyre life working his way through the field, and the unoptimised lines of the car won't be helping with the performance. But Skurley's got a bit between his teeth at the moment. He is nibbling away at the field and absolutely on a flyer at the moment. We saw Skurley down at the back of the pack towards one of these restarts, and he's already moved his way up to P12. So really, really flying us. Oh, Dave Douglas has gone around. Douglas has gone around with Cracknell, I think it was.
It's a huge incident again. And Hamish Gallagher just in the wrong place at the wrong time as well. Let's go back and have a look at that.
Oh, there's a massive crunch up there, and a lot of cars stuck together. Those cars will have basically been welded into each other.
You got a tap. Dave Douglas. The 225 of Michael Cracknell just gets into the left-hand rear of the 199. You can see Danny G nowhere to go. Norm Clark nowhere to go. And a huge check-up. Gallagher just bumps there, so that won't be too bad. But Stevie G gets a huge one. And then, in fact, Gallagher, the 263 of Michael Schroeder, goes into him as well. Phil Otto gets up into the back of Paul Jackson. And it looks like Hunter Urquio and Noddy Tompkins just are able to avoid it.
Norman Clark probably got the luckiest out of all of those drivers. He got a big smack up the rear end by Stevie Dubb, but it kind of helped him avoid some of the rest of that incident and got him sort of out of position where he was caught up. So that's worked out well for Stormer Norman, and he's managed to sort of avoid the worst of it. So the leaders stick it out and stay on track. Dyson over Jake Maloney, Jane Russell and Foster, Heddersheed, Mickelmore, Martin and Carol Walden with Luke Traher and Riley Curtis.
We've gone dark again. This keeps happening, I guess, when there's a caution, but...
It's okay, we'll go back into 1920s BBC radio announcer voice for the rest of this broadcast tonight. If we need to.
Well, we might have to. Very, very frustrating. Apologies to everyone out there trying to watch.
Luckily, it's been kind and happened in a caution, of course, where we're not going to miss too much. So that is always a good thing. Nobody's come down pit lane at the moment, other than a few cars to get some repairs. The leaders have all stuck it out at the moment. So they are not moving away as it sits. So the pace car still out there for another lap. And we'll be getting ready to get underway relatively shortly with sound and vision and all of those lovely things that everybody likes to see on the stream. And all the pretty cars, hopefully, as well, that aren't too wrecked. A lot of fresh-looking cars up towards the front of the pack. The front of the pack looking relatively unscathed at the moment. Down a little bit further, you've got JCW and Jason Martin, the first of those cars, with a little bit of damage to them. And then as you get further down, it just gets more and more damage. Some to the front, some to the rear. But pretty much every one of them has got a bit of a damaged panel. But luckily, you can probably make a pretty solid-looking car from the remaining cars out there still. So, getting ready for the restart. Daiso is getting away nicely, waits for the last moment again, waits till he's on the straight this time to get away, gets away very cleanly. Foster loses a little bit of time on the restart, doesn't get the best of starts there, and that's going to give Hedesheed the chance to get underneath him, his teammate just underneath him at the moment. Jake Maloney is currently in second, battling it out with Jaden Russell. It is side by side now. Foster's managed to get ahead of his teammate. His teammate's fallen back in behind, and it is the battle between Josh Micklemore and Daniel Hedesheed at the moment. Micklemore on the outside, Hedesheed on the inside. They are battling away as they go through turns two as they come in towards 3 and 4 now. Jason Martin looking to get into the mix. A little bit of a late break behind him, but no damage done. Luckily, all the cars still pointing in the right direction as it stands. It is Dyson in the lead over Maloney and Russell. Foster in fourth. A great battle going on just behind, with Jason Martin now getting past his teammate of Josh Micklemore. JCW a little bit further behind, getting picked off by Luke Trahere as it stands as we cut back some broadcast views.
Apologies there, we're back live again. So Dyson's still in the lead. Thanks for the coverage there, Carl. To Dyson, Maloney, it's Russell, Foster, Hedesheed, Martin, Micklemore, Trahere, who's just lost the position to Joshua Carroll Walden and Riley Curtis into the top 10. So they continue a little bit of a bump there between JCW and Luke Trahere. That's made JCW susceptible to Justin Witcher, who's looking to go down the inside of him. Michael Skurlock continues his recovery run. He's almost back up inside the top 10 now.
A little bit of door rubbing going on. Oh, Witcher into JCW as well. A little bit of rubbing between those two cars at the moment. And, you know what they say, rubbing is racing, son, and that's going to help Skurly out an enormous amount. Skurly is going to be enjoying this because this is going to give him the opportunity to maybe get past these two cars.
It goes around.
Big accident in the background.
Yeah, just right in front of us there. I think he... just go back and see if he's... he might have got a little touch there. Yeah, we just had a little bit of contact there from Phil Otto on his way through. And Lachlan Urquio goes around.
Yeah, that was a big moment, and luckily it came back up when the pictures were happening, so I didn't have to describe it all for you.
You needed a little bit more BBC in that commentary there, Carl. Just by the way, but thank you for doing that.
I need to work on the old cricket commentator. Of course, you know, get that going perfectly.
Coming in from the southern end. Yeah. So again, the question is raised: will we see any cautions, any pit entries from our leaders? I don't think we will. I'm going to see another one where they're going to run the race if they can.
59 laps remaining, of course, so it is getting towards the tail end of this race.
We've seen a couple of the drivers who've jumped into pit lane, Michael Skurlock, Dave Douglas, have their race impacted by being back further in the pack. So it's probably not a risk that any of our leaders want to take at this point in time. The frequency of the cautions meaning they're not lapping cars, they're not getting exposed to that traffic and those more perilous situations. So it makes sense while they can to stick it out there.
Yeah, we've seen so far pretty much all the incidents have happened sort of below the top 10. So if you can keep the car in the top 10, you're sort of sitting in a pretty spot at the moment. So that's that's the sort of place you want to be sat. If you've actually locked yourself inside that top 10, then sit up there and just ride the storm out, I think. But this is the part where it starts to get a little bit tricky. This is where the tyres will have dropped off a little bit. Obviously, they'll still be working, but the tyre drop-off is that they do get a little bit squirrely on the restarts when they're going through their heat cycles, and this is where you could see a few mistakes happening on those restarts. So keep an eye on everybody, and you just got to be a little bit more careful on that accelerator pedal, just to not get a bit too much acceleration on too quickly, because that can sometimes really catch you out.
Yeah, certainly the case. One more lap under pace car. Behind the pace car. We get going here. Could it be green to the end? Wouldn't that put a twist on things with the tyres?
That could give us a fantastic show for the remainder of this race. If we get green flag to the end, that could really help somebody like Skurlock out tonight. Same for even Matty Hunter, who had a really strong qualifying and is having a really strong comeback in the race as well. But they're going away. Dyson waits no longer. He launches that car off, gets a really nice restart there. Everybody away relatively cleanly. Jaden Russell just gets a little bit of wheel spin on the exit off the corner. That's put him susceptible to Foster at the moment. But Foster's sort of just sitting there and sort of sitting there working with his teammate to keep the Mitch boys behind him at the moment. They're sort of very much playing teammates with each other. I think Martin may have just touched the wall slightly there, as he's trying his best to get past Daniel Hedesheed at the moment, really putting the pressure on. Hedesheed doing a great job at the moment to try and keep Martin behind him. Not an easy thing to do at the best of times. Meanwhile, Andrew Dyson still leads over Maloney.
Sorry, Carl, just a small bit of contact there between Hedesheed and Martin. Just on the right rear of Hedesheed. So.
Oh, we've got a car around, and it is Riley Curtis, who's just had a single car spin. He's just got on the power a little bit too early. No harm, no foul towards anybody. Just managed to keep it out the wall as well, so barely even a dent on that car. But just one of those little things, as I say, it's getting to that stage of the race where the track conditions start changing a little bit. You start getting a little bit sort of eager and put your foot down a little bit sometimes, and all of a sudden it catches you out, especially on those bumps throughout the corners here at Martinsville. Jason Martin throwing a huge dummy for the pit lane just then, but nobody biting.
So, didn't get what we wanted, but we are about to tick over lap 100. Over 150. So, still plenty of race to be run. If we keep having these short sprints, there's again more risk of the issues that we're seeing of cautions breeding cautions, because of course the tyre drop off and even just that restart with the change of track surface. So a few things that need to be considered.
It's not over by a long shot, and it can easily have can easily make a little mistake here and there, even when you're leading a race sometimes, and you get these sort of disruptions. So you sort of have to be a bit careful, because when you get a disrupted race, sometimes it's worse than having a big, long, full-on race where you're sort of concentrating constantly, because when you get these disruptions, you can sort of lose that little bit of focus.
Certainly can. Well, we keep seeing them come out, unfortunately.
Still have 19 cars on the lead lap. Noddy Tompkins, the last car on that lead lap at the moment, with Norman Clark just in front of him, Riley Curtis, Paul Jackson, with a little bit of a modern art project for the front of his car at the moment. I think we've seen some better days, but they're going to be lining up once again. we'll see how this one goes back. Good day to Trev Micklemore as well. Just noticing, yep, Hamish Gallagher just climbing his way back up through the field as well. He's just got ahead of Matty Hunter as well. So Hamish Gallagher getting some recovery now, and this is just helping him just get a few extra positions after that disastrous couple of laps and those 2 cautions that caught him out.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to get an idea of the damage bill on the front of that one. It's still not affecting the car too much. As usual, not of his own making. Just got caught up in the field, but making good progress back up. Similar story to last week. As Andrew Dyson is about to take us away again. When's he going to let it go? Straight away. He gets a good jump. Edward Foster also gets a good jump. And he is on the outside there. Just decides to comply and head down to the inside line in P4 with his teammate now, Daniel Heddersheed, taking a position on Jason Martin. You can see there as well, Micklemore getting a good restart. Michael Skurlock looking to go with him underneath JCW. Micklemore just closes the door a little bit on JCW there, which allows him to close out that position. So
Be a chance for Michael Skurlock to make a little bit of a move as well. Skurley trying to push hard up the front. We've got Jake Maloney trying to push on Andrew Dyson as well. So a few different battles going on, a few different fights happening throughout the pack.
That's a good thing about the caution, bunching the field back up, giving us plenty of good racing on the restarts.
As Skurlock makes the move on JCW right here, he could be getting this one done right now. Skurley using those slightly fresher tyres to his advantage to take that much lower line, gets that good traction out the corner as well. So Skurley is really pushing for it at the moment. He's trying his best to get back up to the front of this pack and get ahead of some of his chase rivals as well. So Skurley is very much trying to get the best out of this one when he got caught out after that pit stop, caught up in a bit of a traffic jam and sent to the back of the pack. Good recovery. Just a little bit further back we have Hamish Gallagher just on Justin Witcher. He's trying to make that move done. He's got Dave Douglas just sitting in behind him at the moment as the caution flag falls once more.
Roddy Tompkins looks like he might have been involved in an incident here. Just that bump, changes surface, and then grabs the curb, and around she goes. Filotto gets lucky there. Misses out, a little bit of damage to the front of the 80. Oh, just avoiding Norm Clark as he got that one back around, but that does bring out the next caution.
I hope somebody's keeping count of them tonight.
Yeah. Was Trev Micklemore picked it when we were here last time?
Run out of fingers and toes in the broadcast booth at the moment. So. So again, Daiso has to do that restart again, and every time this happens, it puts him at a disadvantage because he's got to try and pick that point again and again and again. And if he's just that little bit off, he's just got to put that defence on Maloney. It gives Maloney that opportunity to try and make a bit of a jump. Maloney doesn't have any real championship things to think about. He's just going out there for the win tonight, and same for Daiso, you could say, although he is in the chase. He's quite a few points off the leaders as it stands, but he is still trying to get some good finishes and good results out of this one, and an 8th victory for the season would be very sweet, I think, for Andrew Dyson.
Yeah, absolutely. We are up to, believe it or not, caution 14.
Okie dokie. So 40 laps to go. Let's see how many green we can go.
So it is quite a number. I must admit, it doesn't feel like we'd actually had that many, but we have. So we've trumped the Xfinity cars here a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, not a thing we want to really do too often.
No, it's not a record we want to break. Not a
No.
target. But these short spells do help those damaged cars recover.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about recovery drives and damage limitations right now for those cars with damage, and especially the ones that are in the chase, as we said, is trying to get the damage limitation to the best possible position that it can be in. So it's going to be tricky, but we are getting underway once again very soon. They are going to be lining up 2 by 2 once more. We've got 2 Chevrolets at the front with the DPR of Dyson and Jake Maloney sitting on the outside, and then just behind them we have the Chevy of Jaden Russell and Foster as well. Lots of Chevys up at the front tonight at the moment, having a good night for GM. Away we go once more. Dyson gets a nice restart there, very well away. Foster just getting a little bit loose on the restart, manages to keep the car nice and solidly in front of Martin, and he has got that useful inside line of Daniel Hedesheed to give him a little bit of a hand of just helping him a little bit. But they're going to want to try and keep that partnership going on for as long as they can to keep Martin behind. But Martin is desperate to try and get past. Same with Skurlock and Micklemore. Those boys are absolutely chomping at the bit at the moment, really trying to push their way through up into the top 5, top 6 of this race. And you can't discount any of those drivers. They are very quick, and they will be looking at taking a few more risks as this race goes on. Martin trying to make a little move down the inside, doesn't quite make it work this time. Foster managing to pull out a gap from Hedesheed at the moment. Hedesheed doing a good job of just keeping the Mitch pair behind him as it stands, and keeping up in a strong P5 as well.
Yeah, absolutely he is, and he's just managed to open up a little bit of a gap on Martin as well, so Skirley trying to find a way past Josh Micklemore. Not quite so easy to do. Oh, there's Micklemore. Looks like
Micklemore's round.
that looked
Micklemore.
like
Just a little bit of contact from Skirley, just a slight touch on the rear there, unsettled the car.
it's just a tiny little bump mid-corner. So
Barely anything there.
Yeah.
It was really the lightest of contact, unfortunately, but it just unsettled the car at the worst spot in that mid-corner, and that caused it to go around. And yeah, that was disastrous. And I think Justin Witcher just followed in sympathy.
Sympathy spin.
Yeah, just caught the apron a little bit, unfortunately, and spun it around in unison there. So that's not what Micklemore would have wanted, especially with only 32 laps to go. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, you'd almost think go in, chuck on a new set of tyres, and he's doing just that, and then just see what he can press through and get. It's a shame too. It's just a very, very light bump there. It's just enough. Matt Hunter's in. Jason Martin, Michael Skurlock. Throw some fantastic dummies to make me think they were going into pit lane. But not a chance.
So Skurlock's had to work his way back up to P7. And it has been a lot of work to get back up there, and a few little bumps in the road as well. So I don't think he's going to throw away this track position now with only 20 laps to go.
No chance of jumping into pit lane. But it was a good dummy anyway. A good time for some trivia, Carl. You've got any there? I'll need the help of everyone in the audience, no doubt.
Well, I did have a couple of bits lined up, of course, and I was just trying to remember what I asked you at the Xfinity race, and that's my that's the big one. But I'm pretty sure I've remembered. So I'm going to go with the NASCAR Cup Series records for tonight here at Martinsville for the best average starter.
Right. Yeah. Throw to the Through the audience for this one.
And he was one of the early boys of NASCAR as well.
If you're out there in the audience and you know the answer to that question, I'll be more than happy to have your help. Just waiting for green to resume.
I could do something to help you out a little bit, Stuart, if you like, if you want a little hint.
Oh, absolutely. I'm always willing to listen to a hint.
This driver had a couple of brothers and a sister that raced in NASCAR.
Oh, not again. Not again.
Oh, I can hear the dread and hatred in your voice right now.
I can't even think of who that was. It's too late for me on a Thursday evening.
As the pace car peels in once more, it's going to be Daiso and Maloney up the front. Russell and Foster behind them. Dyson gets away mid-corner, gets away very well indeed. Once again, launches that car down towards the first corner and gets a good run into it with a car's length behind him. Jason Martin runs up a little bit high. That's going to cost him dearly. Martin runs up high, manages to save it, but it's going to fall in behind Luke Trahere at the moment. Not the restart that Martin will have wanted. He's going to try and fight his way back up those positions. Luke Trahere on the inside, Martin on the outside at the moment, battling it out for that spot. Martin trying his best to get back up there, but he's struggling. Josh Micklemore having an absolute flyer of a restart as well, moving up a few positions. Micklemore has got some pace and he's going to have the bit between his teeth to work his way up there. Side by side, just behind him is Trahere and Martin at the moment. Skurlock just in front of them. Skurlock on some of the fresher tyres up in the top half of the field now. A little bit further back, Dave Douglas trying to make a move on Matty Ray with Josh Micklemore as well. Micklemore making the move on Matty Raymond as it stands. Given the chance to Dave Douglas. Douglas tries around the outside, can't quite make it work this time round, but there's a lot of battles going on now. It's going to start heating up with 24 laps remaining.
Yeah, particularly interested in seeing how Micklemore recovers, and so far so good. This restart going very well for him. Those fresh tyres will make a lot of difference now. You can see him here just trying to get down underneath Mr. Sheen. Oh, as Matty Hunter gets really, really loose. Lucky to avoid it there, Micklemore, as there's a bump in the background. That might have been Justin Witcher.
Well. Yeah, just had a big lock-up into the first corner. Bit of a check-up with Dave Douglas as well. So that's just thrown Douglas off a little bit of the pace. So he's going to have to just resettle that car, get back onto the attack. Meanwhile, up front, Andrew Dyson setting some very respectable lap times still. And I say not a huge drop off on tyres here for performance-wise. To give you a bit of an idea, best time set in the race so far was a 19.176. Currently, Daiso last lap was a 19.357, so not that much off pace at the moment. And that's one of the risks of the fresh tyres, is they do give you a little bit more opportunity to overtake, but it's not a big difference in pace. Meanwhile, Jason Martin and Josh Carroll Walden are having a battle a little bit further down, side by side at the moment. The 35 and 21 battling away. Martin trying his best to keep Joshua Carroll Walden as JCW makes a little bit of a lock-up. Catches Martin there. Martin loses it on the outside, manages to save it. Martin does a good job of saving that car from a spin. That was very close to losing that car completely as Jaden Russell's gone round. Jaden Russell's gone round and Jason Martin unfortunately has just collected him as well.
Well, that's a I have to go back and have a quick look at that one.
Jaden Russell just losing himself, unfortunately, into turn number 3, so you'll just see him turn in a little bit. Back end steps out, and then all of a sudden, around she goes, holds onto the brake, and unfortunately, Jason Martin comes steaming around unseen and catches him in the front.
A lot of damage to the front of that Mitch Motorsport entry. Absolutely nothing you could do about it there. Would not have seen a thing until it was far too late.
Yeah,
that was where Martin got loose. Yeah,
Martin's just recovered from that half spin as well, so he's just recovering from that, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
bang.
Unseen that would have been. It's the trouble is all the cars on the inside, you can't see that car on the outside there. and you're just basically going blind into that section. Really, really unlucky for Jason Martin.
He's been battling very, very well, as you would expect, through the night, and yeah, just got a lot of damage to the front of that car now. But I reckon he'll probably just stick it out there and see if it holds together. No amount of repairing is going to help that if it is terminal.
No, so as I say, track position is a key feature tonight, and I think Jason's just keeping that track position. He's down in 12th position now. Really super save from Martin when he had that contact with JCW. Really well saved. JCW just locking up a little bit into the corner, catches him, and Martin just absolutely perfectly saved that car. And then just for that to happen afterwards, it's almost like all of your good luck's been used up, and then that's it. You have that happen to you. You just feel deflated sometimes.
Hamish Gallagher back up into P8 in his hybrid-looking Camry. So he's had a good recovery, and he's got some help now as well with Josh Mickelmore right behind him. So
the one this does pay off for is Michael Skurlock. This is going to be relatively good news for Skurley, who was just 2 points behind Josh Mickelmore coming into this round, and sorry, I have to do maths now. 8 points behind Jason Martin, so this could be the chance for Skurlock to get up into the top 3 in the chase come the end of this race. He's going to get a couple of positions, and this could be this could be the little bit of a Hail Mary for him for the season final and give him an opportunity to take out the title. So really rough though for a couple of drivers, as is motorsport though. When it goes well for one person, it doesn't always go well for the other. Daiso is about to restart. We've got 15 laps to go. Side by side they are. Jake Maloney listening for that car to launch. Doesn't quite catch it in time. Good start from all though. They get away cleanly. Foster sitting in P3 at the moment with Hedershy just behind him, but Skurley is making the move. Skurley gets the inside line. Skurlock is trying to make the run on Daniel Hedershy at the moment, trying to push his way up the field. Dyson loses the rear end. Dyson just loses the rear end there. Gets a little bit squirrely there. That's going to give Maloney the opportunity to get into the lead right now. Foster right up behind him. There's a bit of a check up there. Side by side, a little bit further back is Skurley and Hedershy. Skurley might have a chance here for a good run towards the front of the field.
yeah, he's just down under Hedershy now. He's trying to make his way through. There was contact there as Maloney went underneath Dyson. So now Maloney leads, Dyson second, Foster third, Skurlock still attacking Daniel Hedershy. Luke Trahere wanting to go with him, make up that extra position if he can do it. Hedershy's not giving in, as you'd expect. 12 to go. Down the background there, it's Josh Mickelmore and Joshua Carroll Walden. So Mickelmore continues his charge up the field. Luke Trahere now getting past Daniel Hedershy as well.
Looked like it maybe a little bit of hip and shoulder use there. Mickelmore forcing his way fast, absolutely flying at the moment. Mickelmore on some of the freshest tyres out there as well. So that's going to work. Hedershy loses some positions, gets knocked out of those spots. Hedershy having a fantastic drive tonight, but just loses those spots as those tyres start to fall off.
Yeah, just got a little bit of contact there as well from Luke Trahere on the pass on the way through that pushed him wide. It was just a little bump, and Riley Curtis just got notification that he's had an incident, and that has brought out what will be, I think, our 20th caution of the night.
Yeah, Riley's just gone through the corner, and that back end has just stepped out on him, unfortunately, just coming off of the concrete, and that car has gone around, and that front end is very much done. That thing looks like toast.
Yeah, missing and lucky not to go up into the remainder of the pack. Did a good job there, just holding onto the brake out of that bump.
This works out very well for the number 31 entry of Josh Mickelmore. I would say this is this could work out very well for him. Only going to be a small dash to the end right now, but as recoveries go, Mickelmore has made a good recovery on this one. Hamish Gallagher sitting down in 11th at the moment. Jason Martin 13th, just around Danny G in 12th. So there's going to be a few little spots to gain. I think there's going to be a bit racy towards the end. I've got a feeling we might even see a green-white checker tonight.
Well, I hope not. Good to just see the racing to the end. Daiso not going to be the one leading us away for the first time tonight. He has led from the opening flag, the green flag even, and he will have to see if he can get that position back from Jake Maloney, riding on board with Josh Micklemore at the moment. Of course, Luke Trahera and Michael Skurlock pressing their claim with a good run throughout that last green period. I'd be surprised if Luke Trahera's tyres are slightly better conditioned than those around. Obviously not Michael Skurlock and Josh Micklemore, but he's a long race runner.
Yeah, Luke Trahera is very good at saving tyres, and he is on the same tyres as the leaders, of course, so he's not taking a stop. But we've seen Luke pull the rabbit out the bag before with those good tyre saving strategies and just keeping a little bit for the last few moments, and he's going to need tonight. Meanwhile, Josh Micklemore's on tyres that have done only 26 laps, so he is on very, very fresh rubber right now. This could be good news for Micklemore, and this could really help him out on the restart if a few people get a little bit fishtailing. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Watch out for Skirley as well. He is on tyres that have done about 93 laps, so they're fairly worn, but compared to the cars around him, they're relatively fresh. Yeah.
Get another caution. Exactly what you're talking about, Carlton. We'll go around for one more here. Get ready to go. Lights are out. It'll be 4 to go. Hamish Gallagher suffered a little bit from the last restart. He's now down in P12. That again is something out of nothing. His teammate Jason Martin dropped down to 14 after that incident in the last one. We're about to go green. Oh, there's a bump there on the restart from Jake Maloney into Andrew Dyson, but Maloney gets away. 4 to go here.
Just trying to get as close as possible to Maloney to try and keep his ear on the car, and it just didn't pay off for him. Just made contact there. Going to see Luke Trahera coming into pit lane. I think he's got the dreaded drive-through penalty, unfortunately. So he's hit 12 instant points. Meanwhile, Hennessy making a bit of a move on Josh Micklemore right here. So Hennessy trying to make up that position, and does indeed. So nice drive back from Hennessy there. Nice little recovery there.
Oh, and there's contact.
JCW goes round.
We've got a caution.
We're going to get a green-white checker. Bit of a check-up a little bit further back. It looks like maybe a little bit of contact between Maddie Ray and JCW there, and just spun JCW through, and a couple of cars got caught up in the check-up as well.
No, not too much damage or any damage at all to the 35. But it does mean that we're going to see a green-white checker here.
We are indeed, and this is make it or break it for Daiso now. He's going to need to make the perfect restart behind Maloney right now to make this one work, because it's going to be very tricky for him to get back in the lead of this race. Will we see somebody like Skurlock try and make a bit of a last-minute dive down on the inside of Foster? Will Foster be a little bit more conservative, being that he has got a lot of points to lose right now? And that's going to be playing on his mind, I'm sure. This is going to be really, really tense.
Yeah, he'll want to make sure it's as clean as possible, obviously. Skirley be wanting to press his claim for a top 3 or further up if he can. So, and this benefit Josh Micklemore.
Hamish Gallagher's managed to get back up inside the top 10, sitting in P9 at the moment. So good recovery from himself. Jason Martin down in 11th position. Michael Scollock up in 4th, and Josh Micklemore in 6th as well. So Micklemore having a really good recovery run too, managing to get up there. He's on those nice fresh tyres as well. But it is going to be very much a dash to the end right here as we get that green-white checker, and it's going to be do or die for a lot of these drivers. And it's this sort of time where you can see those last moves where people just think we're going to try for it. Of course, with the green-white checker, if we get a caution come out, then that is that. We finish under caution. So this is the last caution for tonight. So no more yellows. After this one, we are going to go to the end, no matter what. Well, I said no more yellows. There could be another yellow, but if that's it, it is it. But we are going to the finish now, so you're going to want track position. It's going to be key. It's going to be the best place to be. And who is going to be in the right spot at the right time, we're going to find out shortly.
So, Daiso there just getting nice and close again.
It's trading a little bit of paintwork here and there with each other.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be feisty. And he goes.
Maloney very early on that restart, catches the apron a little bit. That checks up a little bit. Foster, I think, was just a little bit cautious of that. He gets off the accelerator a little bit. Foster's just going to try and keep it down on the inside of Skurlock right here. I saw some cars going around in the background, but we are green still, importantly. Foster and Skurlock now battling it out. You can see Daniel Hennessy trying to get up there as well. Jake Maloney in the lead of this race as the white flag comes out. So Maloney's just going to make it round one more lap. He's got a good lead at the moment. Skurley trying to make a move on Foster, but Hennessy making the move on Skurley right now. Skurley could lose position. Skurley goes round. Skurley loses it. Skurlock has lost it on the back end. I don't know if there was contact there, but that's dropped Skurlock right to the back of the pack. It's going to be Jake Maloney taking victory over Andrew Dyson, Edward Foster, Daniel Hennessy, Josh Micklemore, Matty Ray, Hamish Gallagher, Justin Witcher, Danny G and Jason Martin.
Now let's go back quickly and have a look at this incident with Michael Skurlock. This is on the outside line. No, it looks like he's just lit it up. Looks like. Go back and have another look from a different angle.
Yeah, he's just lost the rear going through the mid corner. That car lost itself through that corner, and that's lost Skurlock a lot of positions. That is disastrous for the chase for him. But the man it does help is going to be Josh Micklemore. Recovery drive. It doesn't look like he's done much tonight. He started 5th and he finishes 5th. But it was not that cut and dry. But it goes out to the winner tonight. Jake Maloney, as ever, fast. When we see Maloney out, we know he's going to be quick. He's going to be hard to beat. Andrew Dyson tried his best, but could not get it done tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. A good, clean race. I should say, what I meant to say was no stops for Maloney, Dyson and Foster, header sheet as well. So they got through the entire race without jumping into pit lane. So a secure strategy that worked in the Xfinity Convert in the Cup. Almost for Andrew Dyson again. He would have enjoyed that race, no doubt. So would Edward Foster to get away. And a resurgence for Hamish Gallagher, getting up into P7 despite being involved in a number of incidents and keeping next week alive as the decider for us for the ANZCAR 2021 Cup Series. And we're going to head to a renovated Phoenix track for that final race of the season. Well, what do you make of that, Carl?
It was a relatively stop-start race, unfortunately. But we got some good results in the end. We saw some good racing out there. It is always the trouble here at Martinsville. The paperclip always can give a little bit of a bite, and it did bite a couple of drivers tonight. Caught a few people out, unfortunately. But we did end up with some good racing when we had it. Unfortunately, it would have been nice to see a few less of those cautions, but it's one of those things that can be expected at the short tracks.
Yeah, just that stop-start nature, but conducive to some good close racing at the end, as you said. So, just waiting on the drivers to jump into the green room. We'll bring them in for the post-race interview. And then we'll wrap up for the week. A short week for us. Of course, we are back on Monday night with the finale of the 2021 Season 3 of the Truck Series. Or Oz Pro-Am on Tuesday night. Followed up by the Cup finale. So plenty to come next week. Next week's a big one for us here on the channel. So we'll just bring the drivers in, and Carl, take it away.
Yes, so we will start off, as always, in third position with Edward Foster tonight in the Atari Autosport. Congratulations on the P3 tonight.
Thanks very much.
Obviously, not an easy race, but stop-start tonight. A lot of restarts coming your way as well, so having to defend a lot from behind yourself. But you kept pretty calm under the pressure and managed to keep yourself in the top three tonight.
Yeah, look, it was just a game of survival, wasn't it? I was kind of watching the three boys up front. Of course, they had Russell up there with Jake and Daiso. And they were sort of getting pretty aggressive and everything, and I did not want to borrow that. Like, I was quite happy to sit there and watch. I mean, it was good viewing. Like, it was great as a spectator, but I didn't want a piece of that. So just kind of sat back and tried to stay out of trouble. I mean, races like this, you know, you kind of ride your luck a lot as far as not getting caught up in anything. And, yeah, fortunately, we were able to start towards the front and stay there and not really have to avoid anything. It was just a case of, you know, making sure in the restarts, I spent a lot of time, most of the restarts, just trying to slot in behind Jake and not really, I didn't want to be running side by side with people or anything. So, yeah, just did that and it worked out. So, yeah, all cool.
I imagine you were sweating a couple of bullets towards the end there with the battle between Skirley on that last couple of laps on that green-white checker.
No, that was all right. I was quite happy to have him on the outside. If he'd been on my inside, that would have been a little bit worse. That's why you would have seen, I don't know if you were focusing on that at that point or not, but like I was driving down the inside of the straight, trying to run into the outside, knowing that if we did go side by side on the last turn or anything like that, I could give him a little bit of a bump and probably take the spot that way. But yeah, look, it wasn't too bad. It was really the only time I had to do any real racing tonight, which is kind of what I wanted. So yeah, it's fine by me.
Absolutely, and a bit of a mention to your teammate Daniel Hedesheed, doing some very good work with yourself tonight.
Yeah, we were in constant contact, obviously, and we didn't want to be sort of running side by side. So we were talking about, you know, trying to get single file as quick as we could off each restart and so on. And yeah, you know, we've been working together a little while now, so we've got a pretty good understanding of what each other means and so on. So yeah, we're definitely talking, and yeah, it was just a case of trying to get stay away from being side by side, because I think we started out a lot of the restarts potentially looking at that. So yeah, we didn't want to be fighting each other anymore than we wanted to be fighting anyone else at this stage.
Overall, a really good, strong finish, and you know, with your chase competitors around you as well, you being one of the higher finishers, of course, Daiso just pipping you out a little bit, but a little bit further down in points. You must be pretty happy with that result. Yeah,
definitely. Makes it a lot easier going into Phoenix. So yeah, I mean, haven't won a thing yet, but it certainly came in, and we're leaving the race in a stronger position than we went in. So that's yeah, it's a good start.
Congratulations on P3. Before I let you go, the usual shout out and love to sponsors and people in general.
Yeah, of course. So shouts out to the Natari boys. Yeah, it's been sort of good the way we've sort of got that team together really quickly at the beginning of the year. Of course, it's much the same group from last year, but it was new team, new identity, new paint scheme, so much stuff needed to be worked out. So and those guys have sort of got stronger and stronger. Daniel's been a great addition to that, so shouts out to all of them. And the other boys I was racing with up front tonight, they were all really clean. It seemed like back there a little bit was a bit interesting, but certainly all the racing was hard but fair at the front. And obviously the team sponsors as well: Bridgestone Select, Ferguson Group Media, Two Fat Blokes, AJ Insurance Services, and Race Magazine. So thanks to those guys as well.
Thank you so much, Edward Foster Natari. Congratulations on the P3. I'm sure we'll hopefully get to speak to you before the end of the season.
Thanks a lot.
Next up, we head to P2, the orange car with maybe a couple of specks of blue on the side now. Andrew Dyson for DPR. Congratulations on P2. I imagine you would have been happier with that one step higher. A little mistake costing you there.
No, I mean, I was still wrapped to have a good race out. I'm not really ruining it. It was still a good one, but I don't think I really made some mistakes. I was probably a little bit slow in some spots, and I didn't really know how to hang on to first around there. And obviously, when you are in P1, you're the guy that's most susceptible to copping a bumper, and Jake did that pretty well, and that's what the racing is all about around here. It's wheel to wheel and bumper to bumper race, and so I'm not bad. It was a great race, man.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, it was a bit stop-start, unfortunately, but we saw yourself, Jay Russ, and of course Jake Maloney having a fantastic battle up the front. They did not make it easy for you.
Well, they're not supposed to. Yeah, no, it was good fun there. Got the heart rate pumping a little bit, a couple of times in those restarts, and then eventually, when it was all chill, that's when it all went down. It was when I was least expecting it. So, I mean, to be fair, like when Jake rocked up, I knew it was going to be a fair income race, no matter where you were and no matter where he was. So he's not here to finish second. So, just glad to get a good race in. Really, I think last time we came here, I had a pretty good one. So good to back it up.
No, absolutely. I mean, another good result for you, another strong finish on the ovals as well. I mean, we keep saying that. I mean, it's a normal thing nowadays for you, Daiso. This has been a pretty resurgent end to the season as well for your chase, sort of your chase, so to say. Obviously, very much the dark horse of the competition, and it'd be very hard to win it in your position, but you might be able to get a couple of extra positions up, which is, I imagine, quite good news for you.
Oh, it's nice to know, but it's not really what it's all about now. I'm that far back from the leaders, man, because of that internet drama I had, and then Bristol was a bit of a disaster. Talladega, you know what that's like, and so I'm not really in it. I'm just out there going for W's now. Obviously, I couldn't get it done tonight, spewing, but yeah, no, we are having a dip, and I feel still finished in front of all the chase runners, so that's pretty cool. Good to know.
A nice little ego boost for sure. Look, obviously. Look, could possibly get the 8th win of the season for the Cup. Do you think that might happen in Phoenix for you?
Don't know, man. Don't know. Last time I raced Phoenix, I made a mess of that. That was in the trucks, wasn't it? So, if I recall correctly, and actually, last time we raced Phoenix in the Cup cars, I wrecked, man. I wrecked myself and wrecked someone else at the same time. It was classic Dyson there. So, don't know, man. Let's have to go out there and just have a dip and see what happens, man.
Oh, look, we'll see how it goes. Oh, it's a slightly newer track. It'll be fine. All the bad juju has gone away now, so it's fresh for you.
Oh, I hope so.
Congratulations on P2, Daiso. Before I let you go, the usual thing, shout out, love to sponsors and people in general.
Thanks to you guys for putting it on. Hey, I'm in the broadcast booth again too. I didn't think so. Hey, it happened again. Massive shout out to you guys. Massive shout out to all the guys at ANZCAR. Great job. Ed, Jake, Jaden, all those other dudes out there racing tonight. Shout out to the boys. Probably not the best night for everyone else, but having a dip still, so that's grouse. And massive shout out to simrigs.com. Get around them, they'll look after you. Cheers, boys.
Thank you so much, Daiso. And finally, we will head to race victor Jake Maloney. It's great to have you back up here in the booth. We don't see you nearly enough throughout the season, but win number 5 for you this year in the Cup Series. Congratulations.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, good to come back and have a race. It's been quite a few months since I've come and had a race, but it was good fun tonight. When it was green racing with Andrew and Jaden and Edward, it was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we had a lot of yellows there and probably couldn't get as much green flag racing as we would have liked, but good fun tonight.
No, absolutely. It looked like you were having some fun out there trying to get those restarts timed perfectly as well. I mean, not the easiest of things to do. And we saw that beautiful, nice little pass on Mr. Daiso. I think it was about lap 31, 36 or something there. So absolute perfect little love tap there and getting past. Very well done indeed. Was that the sort of plan all night, just waiting for your opportunity?
Yeah, I probably saved the tyres quite well. Ended up doing the fastest lap on the last lap of the race on a 150 lap old set of tyres, so I probably had a little bit more tyre left than Andrew. But he was really fast at the start of the race, and yeah, it probably switched around towards the end, and yeah, it was good racing, bit of blocking, bit of bumping. That's what it's all about at a short track.
No, it's always good to hear when you've enjoyed yourself. I mean, obviously, we've had a few less cautions, but you know, Martinsville is like that sometimes. But you gave us some great racing up at the front. Do we think you might see you back for the final at Phoenix this season to try and get another W under your name, or is that probably it for the ANZCAR season for you?
Probably it. Probably let the championship guys race it out next week for the last race, but never know. Might show up.
No worries. Look, it's always a pleasure to see you, Jake. Congratulations on the victory. And before I let you go, the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors.
Just a big thanks to all the guys at ANZCAR for putting the series on, and you guys for doing the broadcast.
You're always welcome. Thank you so much, Jake Maloney. Congratulations on the 5th victory of the season. Hopefully we can get to see you back a little bit more often and possibly mount a bit of a championship contention chase.
Yeah, we'll have to see new car next year. Might be a good time to show up more often.
We'll look forward to it. If you can, of course. I mean, I know you're a busy boy. Keep yourself well, Jake, and thanks again.
Cheers.
So, Stuart, Martinsville is done. The penultimate round is over. We have one round remaining, and it is off to Phoenix next.
Yeah, and as I said, a rejuvenated Phoenix track as well. So, looking forward to seeing how that looks. There'll be no doubt plenty of discussion around it, as there was during the week. But that one will be next Thursday night, where we will decide or find out who it is who will be our 2021 ANZCAR Cup Series champion. Will it be able to foster back-to-back, or will there be some late drama that will see Hamish Gallagher lift the crown for Mitch Motorsport? You'll have to come back and join us next Thursday night to see. Thank you, everyone, for jumping in to the chat and joining us on the stream tonight, and we will see you back here on Monday night for the finale of the Truck Series for 2021 as well. So from Cole, Withy and myself on FGME Cast, your replays for Pace. Thank you very much, and we will see you then.